Good evening. Welcome to Midwest Sports Net, and we are talking about small college sports throughout the Midwest and beyond. Hi, I'm Joey McWilliams. Thank you for stopping by the channel tonight here on Midwest Sports Now, talking about the headlines and a few things that are going on tonight. We're going to talk Division II football and the penultimate rankings that have come out, regional rankings for 2021. We'll talk about some of these teams that have a chance to make it to the NCAA Division II playoffs, the 28-team bracket that will be announced within about a week. So let's take a look at these teams right now. Super Region 1, 10 teams ranked in each of these super regions, 4 super regions. The top 7 teams at the end and the final rankings will move on into the bracket. And so these teams in these positions, it's not a lock just because you're in the top 7 and you win your contest in the final week, because there are too many other factors going on, strength of schedule, things like that, where there's an opportunity maybe for a team to jump above another team. But if you're in the top 7 now, you have to say at least we're in the driver's seat, and all we can do at this point is win out and see if we can put ourselves in that position to make it in the playoff bracket. So Super Region 1, the 10 teams in this next to the last regional ranking: Kutztown, Shepherd, Notre Dame College, New Haven, Bentley, Slippery Rock, and Cal U, the top 7. And then 8, 9, and 10 are Shippensburg, Tiffin, and Findlay. Now, looking at the games that these teams are going to be facing this week: Kutztown in the PSAC Championship, taking on Slippery Rock. That's number 1 versus number 6 in the regional ranking. By the way, Slippery Rock, the number 10 team in the country, according to the coaches poll this week. Kutztown not in the top 10. And so that is how it breaks down. 9-1 are the Bears, and they're taking on Slippery Rock, 9-1 as well. PSAC Championship on the line. Shepherd, 9-1, taking on Clarion, 0-9. You have to think Shepherd is in a good position. The Falcons from Notre Dame College, 9-1, taking on Alderson Broadus, 1-9. You have to think Notre Dame College is in a good position. New Haven, 8-1 at Franklin Pierce, and Franklin Pierce is 0-9. This is the second time these two teams have met. In the first meeting, New Haven won 30-14. New Haven also defeated Bentley last week, moving Bentley down to the number 5 spot. Bentley now at 8-1, taking on Assumption. Assumption 5-4. This is also the second meeting between these two teams this year. Bentley won the first one 40-28. You have to think New Haven is in a good position one way or the other with a win. Bentley, win looks good. Slippery Rock, 9-1. Win looks really good because that would be a win over the number 1 team in the region. Cal U, the Vulcans, 8-1. Dropped from last week. Fell from the ranks of the unbeaten. Only 3 undefeated teams left in Division II. Cal U at Bloomsburg. Bloomsburg is 3-7. Now the 3 teams that are looking to make their way up in the regional rankings. At number 8, Shippensburg, 8-2. At home against Mercyhurst, 4-6. Number 9, Tiffin, and number 10, Findlay, are playing each other. It's the de facto Great Midwest Championship there. 7-2 versus 7-3. Tiffin, and the winner of this obviously puts itself in a good position. The loser's out one way or the other, but the winner would still have to jump a couple more teams to get into that top 7. So that's a look at Super Region 1 and how it breaks down. Super Region 2, a couple of teams in the ranking, by the way, in the top 10 in the coaches poll. Valdosta State at number 2, West Florida at number 3, the defending national champions from back in 2019. Valdosta State, the number 1 team in the Super Region, followed by Bowie State, Albany State, West Florida, West Georgia, Mars Hill, and Newberry, the top 7. Then 8, 9, and 10 are Savannah State, Lenore Rhine, and Fayetteville State. Valdosta State, 9-0 at West Florida. Again, de facto championship there for the Gulf South. And the winner of this obviously puts itself in a good position. I have to think that at this point, both Valdosta State and West Florida would be in, win or lose. West Florida losing to the top team in the region shouldn't fall that much strength of schedule-wise. And, of course, the defending national champion. So Valdosta State, with a win, would go to 10-0. One of 3 undefeated teams I mentioned still in Division II. Another one is at number 2 in Super Region 2, Bowie State. At least 9-0 in Division II play. They're 9-1 overall. At Fayetteville State, that's a regional breakdown there. So that puts Fayetteville State in a good position with a win, and this is the CIAA championship game, by the way. Fayetteville State at number 10 with a win would still need some help, but going against a team like Bowie State, the strength of schedule would look good according to the computers. So that's the CIAA championship in Salem, Virginia. Number 3, Albany State, 9-1 in the SIAC championship, taking on Miles. Miles 6-4, but the divisional champions there, Albany State with a win in a good position. A loss, probably still in a good position. West Florida at number 4 in the Super Region 2 rankings, and we mentioned them. They're taking on Valdosta State and hosting Valdosta State. West Georgia, also from the Gulf South. 3 teams from the Gulf South in the top 5 in the region, and West Georgia at 7-2 is hosting Delta State. Delta State's 5-5. Number 6 is Mars Hill. This is where it gets to be just a little bit sketchy as you move on down. With a win, 8-2, and Mars Hill taking on Wingate at Wingate. Wingate 7-3, so this is no easy matchup in the final game of the season. Newberry 8-2 at Limestone. Limestone 1-8. So Newberry in a good position, needs the win though, definitely there. At number 8, Savannah State 8-2. They're idle this week. Last week defeated Edward Waters 24-0. Pitched the shutout to close out the regular season. They will need help. They'll need somebody to lose somewhere in front of them, and we'll see how that plays out. Number 9, Lenore Rhine at Catawba, 5-5. And Fayetteville State, we mentioned, taking on Bowie State in the CIAA championship. For Super Region 3, looks like this, the number 1 team in the country and 4 teams in the top 10 in Super Region 3, according to the coaches poll. Number 1, Ferris State, 9-0. Number 2 and number 7 in the coaches poll, Harding at 9-1. Number 3 and number 5 in the coaches poll, Grand Valley State. Number 4 and number 4 in the coaches poll, Northwest Missouri State. Lindenwood, Henderson State, Nebraska Kearney round out the top 7. Then 8, 9, and 10 are Southeastern Oklahoma, Washburn, and Ouachita, teams that need a win and need some help. Let's break it down. Ferris State, the Bulldogs taking on Wayne State. Ferris State, the third of the 3 undefeated teams in Division II that remain right now in the fall of 2021, taking on Wayne State from Michigan, 2-8 right now. Ferris State likely still in, even with a loss. Harding is 1 point away from being undefeated. A 32-31 loss at Southeastern Oklahoma earlier in the year. Southeastern Oklahoma, a regionally ranked team. We'll get down to them in just a moment. Harding taking on Arkansas Tech, and the Wonder Boys are 4-6. Harding likely still in with a win. Definitely in with a win, with a loss. Grand Valley State, 7-1, taking on Davenport in the Crosstown Showdown there. Davenport 3-7 this year. Grand Valley State in with a win, likely still in, even with a loss to Davenport. Number 4, Northwest Missouri State, 8-1. First representation from the MIAA. Moving down to number 4, and we have a couple more from the MIAA here in the poll. At Emporia State, tough matchup to close out the season. 6-4 are the Hornets right now. Northwest Missouri State wants to get that win to close out the season. Lindenwood at 8-1 in Division II play, 8-2 overall, hosting McKendree, who is 4-6 this year. Lindenwood likely needs the win. Henderson State needs the win as well, 9-1, but it's starting to get a little bit tight in there. And Henderson, the Reddies, in that number 6 position, taking on another team in the regional rankings, and that is Ouachita. In the Battle of the Ravine, it is the shortest road trip in all of college football. One team literally crosses the street, and they actually get dressed in their own home locker rooms, and one team will cross the street to play the other one. It's a fantastic matchup. Henderson State at 9-1, Ouachita at 8-2. Ouachita number 10 in the regional rankings. Obviously, the Tigers from Ouachita need a win and need some help. Henderson State likely needs the win. Definitely would not fare well with a loss there in the Battle of the Ravine. Nebraska Kearney at number 7, taking on Northeastern State, 2-8. Nebraska Kearney in a good position. Still would like to definitely get the win. May need a little help. You see what happens there. Southeastern Oklahoma, Southeastern 8-2, taking on East Central, 6-4. Southeastern needs the win and help. And Washburn at number 9, 8-2, taking on Missouri Southern, 3-7 on the season, needs the win and needs some help. For Super Region 4, the number 1 team in the region is the number 9 team in the country according to the coaches poll, and it's Colorado Mines, 9-1. The rest of Super Region 4 looks like this. Angelo State at 8-2, Augustana 8-2, Bemidji State 8-2, then Western Colorado, Central Washington, Minnesota Duluth, rounding out the top 7. 8, 9, and 10 are Midwestern State, Sioux Falls, and Colorado Mesa. Let's look at the teams they play this week. Colorado Mines taking on Adams State, 1-9. Mines is in. Angelo State, 8-2. Only 4-2 in the Lone Star Conference, but some out-of-conference games along the way, and wins this year already over Lindenwood, who is number 5 in Super Region 3, and Central Washington, who's number 6 here in Super Region 4. Angelo State at 8-2, on the road at Texas A&M Kingsville, 5-4. Angelo State, you have to think the Rams are likely in regardless. Augustana, 8-2 at the number 3 spot, taking on Southwest Minnesota State, 2-8. Bemidji State, 8-2, taking on Mary, 4-6. Western Colorado at 8-1, taking on CSU Pueblo, 6-4, tough matchup. And Western Colorado definitely in with the win. We'll have to see how it plays out if there were a loss right there. Central Washington, 6-1 overall, in Division 2, 7-2 overall, with a loss to a Division 1 team and a win over a team that's not yet in the NAIA, but the Central Washington squad getting those games in, taking on Simon Fraser, the team without a name. It's the Simon Fraser football team, 1-6 right now, and Central Washington hoping for the win to close out the season. Minnesota Duluth made its way up the regional rankings with a win last week, would like to stay in the top 7, and with a win likely would do that because it would be a win over Northern State, hosting Northern State. Northern State 7-3 now. Teams on the outside looking in that need a win and help. Midwestern State at 6-2, taking on Permian Basin at 5-4. Sioux Falls at 7-3 at number 9, taking on Upper Iowa at 1-9. Not going to get any help from the strength of schedule right there. And Colorado Mesa at 7-2, taking on South Dakota School of Mines, 6-4. Those are teams that need to get a win and need to have a little help along the way. So that is a breakdown from all 4 of the super regions and how the regional rankings came out today here on November 8th. And so that's what it's looking like tonight. Hey, shout out to Mama Mermaid. Thank you for watching tonight. Appreciate that. As we look through, and there are no volleyball scores to speak of tonight from the NAIA, as the conference tournaments will kick into high gear a little bit later on this week. We were talking about the Heart of America Conference and the GPAC Conference last night here on Midwest Sports Now, and those conferences will, again, get to the semifinals a little bit later on. Lots more volleyball coming up here on the Midwest Sportsnet channel, so please keep watching for that. A couple of scores from the NAI and basketball. We'll wrap up the show with this. Women's basketball tonight, Freed Hardeman goes to 2-0 on the season with a victory over Tougaloo, nearly doubling up the Bulldogs there, 85-43. Caroline Chambers with 21 points and 8 boards. In men's basketball tonight from Macon, it was a tight one as Coastal Georgia comes away with a 2-point victory over Middle Georgia State. The Mariners now 3-1 on the season. Coastal Georgia trailed by 14 at the half, worked their way back into it, and took the lead about the midpoint in the fourth quarter, and then held off Middle Georgia State from that point. Jordan Parks with 18 points on the night. Anthony Duncan with 14 points and 9 rebounds. And that is a look around small college sports here on this Monday, November 8th. I want to say thank you for watching tonight. We appreciate that. Please do consider subscribing to the channel, Midwest Sports Net, where we talk about small college sports and more throughout the Midwest and beyond. I'm Joey McWilliams. Thanks again for watching. God bless you all. Have a great night.